Hey folks, Phil from the future here. The recommended round for this video is round 3 versus Dredge, and I know what you're thinking. How is the Dredge round going to be interesting? It's crazy. Enjoy the show. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we're going to be taking the initiative, and I'm going to be playing with some Undermountain Adventurers, a card that I was waiting a long time for it to finally hit Magic Online. Today's video is sponsored by cardsphere.com, and we'll take a look at them after round 1. So we're going to be playing with Madden Fong's recent 5-0 deck list. And if this looks familiar, it's because I was going and working on this archetype a little bit, I don't know, a month or two ago when Undermountain Adventurer first came to Magic Online. Bloodboil Sorcerer honestly doesn't have the same oomph that a card like Caves of Chaos Adventurer does. But the initiative mechanic is so powerful, especially when you can do something like blanket or like just play initiative creature into initiative creature into initiative creature. Like it has a lot of impact on the game. And what we're looking to do with this deck list is essentially be a big mana, big threat deck. We have Chrome Mox and a whopping 8 copies of the Spirit Guides alongside 8 Soul Lands, Once Upon a Time to Find Them, and treasure tokens from Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, so that we can just jam an initiative creature down our opponent's throat on turn 1 or turn 2 just about every game. And if that doesn't work, like, turns out there's another really good 4-mana card in Legacy that is in red and green that will take over games just as quickly as initiative creatures will. And we back that up with Fury, which is pretty disgusting as a removal spell, honestly. Like, the ability to take out multiple small creatures while still using your mana to throw these 4-drops into play is not to be underestimated. In terms of deck design, I want you to look that way. I want you to look that way at this stuff, okay? Chalices, Trinispheres, Magus of the Moon are all in the sideboard of this deck rather than in the main board. The idea being that in game 1, we just want to get the opponent dead. And in the following rounds, we'll adjust our deck to have the appropriate amount of hate. And this deck has kind of a sexy sideboard, right? 4, 4, 4, 3. This deck knows exactly what it is trying to face and how it wants to face it. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the matches here. If you're new and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It is the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. All right, for round 1, the best thing this hand can do is a turn 2 uncounterable Bone Crusher Giant. I am not on board with this. We're going to try to do better. We have not succeeded. So now it becomes a question, do I want to go to 5? This is a turn 3 Minsc and Boo. Is much slower than what this deck is capable of doing. I'm gonna fish further. 1 Chrome Mox goes back, and this makes a turn 2 initiative creature 100% of the time, right? Blood Boil, yeah. Yeah, there's 100% has a turn 2 initiative creature. Admittedly, it's one of my weaker ones, but I think I'm just down with that. I'm certainly not willing to mulligan more than that. Autsies would be really fucking awkward. Alright, my opponent's got a Flooded Strand. Game starts. So, we're playing against a blue deck. We're not playing against an Ice Fang Coatl deck. My opponent has given me that free information. I probably don't need to hold up Bone Crusher Giant right now. And in fact, I'm probably putting Bone Crusher Giant under Chrome Mox. It's currently just the worst card in my hand. Delta's a scary land. Delta often means something like Doomsday. Alright, there's the Underground Sea. Oh. A little awkward for me. It's no longer awkward. It's fine. The trample here is a really big deal. I'm going to go ahead and Chrome Mox. I think I still imprint this. And then I think I'm just jamming initiative creature after initiative creature after initiative creature here. The trample allows me to contest this really well. We'll pick up a basic mountain. Do that one and call it a turn. Now Bitter Blossom starts. My opponent's not going to take the initiative immediately, but they'll be able to do so in somewhat short order. I wonder if we're playing against like a bug control deck or a Grixis control deck or a Ninja's deck. Bitter Blossom is really slow by legacy standards, so my opponent has to have a good reason for wanting to play it. I would not be surprised if this fetched a green land. Okay, negative. We're going Forge. I would like the damage side here. There's some amount of worlds where this hits a removal spell of some kind. I don't think I mind too much. Oh, sick, I'm just getting my attack. Oh, nope, I'm not getting my attack. Okay, Esper control. There's a swords. My opponent could have done this in a way that gave me 2 less life. I think I would like to start making more land drops, and I can play a Bloodboil Sorcerer around days this turn. Let's go ahead and play the land that they know about. That is also not wastelandable. Drop a Bloodboil Sorcerer. This one will be chump blockable in a way that's like not the best for me. I'll now go ahead and trap them. Drain them for 5. And Bitter Blossom is a very real clock when I have already like trapped my opponent. Like they are admittedly going to take less damage than they would from my creatures, right? Like they're going to take 1 instead of 3 due to this Bitter Blossom trigger. Like that is going to be good for them. But I am at 26 life. Like I am very much on the right side of this race. The gap in power level between this and other options is going to be very apparent though. We'll go ahead and fire in this attack. Swords is fine. And second main phase, we'll fire off Undermountain Adventurer to draw a card. Oh, that's pretty legit. That does function as a full counter spell. I assume my opponent's gonna Forge. I think they need to accelerate their clock. They agree. Taking 5 this turn. I'm at a plenty high life total, but I'm not currently lowering my life total, my opponent's life total by more than 1 every turn cycle as of right now. That's a Teferi. That feels like a mistake to me. That feels like that should have picked this up. I don't know my opponent's hand, but like preemptively fetching and then holding this up seems really strong at stopping the things that I am capable of doing over here. So let's go ahead and throw down a Bloodboil Sorcerer. Now, do they just have another one? I'll take it back if they just have another one. Okay, they have another one. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So my opponent has answered 4 initiative cards. Swords, Swords, Sprite, Sprite. While also being able to take back the initiative quickly. That's bad for me. I'll probably win if I draw like a Minsc and Boo, but otherwise life's pretty rough. What am I taking? 3, 6, 7, 8 damage this turn? Or no, one of those can't attack. I take 7 going to 12. I'm not dead next turn. I'm dead the following turn. So yeah, need big draws. That's almost right. But since my Chrome Mox got bounced, I can't actually cast that. So my opponent goes down another life, gets a card for the Undercity. And game feels over to me. Like my opponent still has 5 cards beyond everything else that's on board. I'm at 4. There's a Teferi plus for funsies. Yeah, so I can cast a Fury, take out 4 creatures, still die in the air, so it's not worth showing them the Fury. I will concede. That's unfortunate. So, do I want to change any cards at all here? I'm not really sure that I do. I don't think Chalice is great here. Magus of the Moon is playable. Like my opponent is a 3-color deck. Bone Crusher Giant's pretty medium. Bloodboil Sorcerer is similarly a little medium. I think I'm gonna do this adjustment and try to get a free one with a Magus in one of these 2 games. But the thing that I want to emphasize from this game is that I went to 5, and I think I played a turn 2, 3, 4, and 5 initiative creature off a Mull to 5. So, like, we didn't win that one, but we did something that was pretty darn strong. This hand's very good. I'm going to be keeping this hand. I have to think about it for a second. The Fury probably goes under Chrome Mox, and then it's just like a question of what do I do from there? Like, do I just slam the turn 1 Magus on the play? Probably. It'll slow the rest of my hand down quite a bit. Like, I could start with turn 1 Caves of Chaos Adventurer instead, but letting my opponent never fetch is probably correct. So, Operation Moonman is a go. Fury goes under, Ancient Doom, cast Magus, dodges everything but Force of Will. They had the Force of Will. Alright, I mean, I still get to do turn 2 Caves of Chaos Adventurer, which will presumably be uncounterable. Like, it's pretty unlikely that my opponent has 2 Force of Wills and like 4 total blue cards in their opening hand. Ooh, that is a Tundra. Right, there's a Prismatic Ending. That's annoying. It's fine if I draw a land, but I did not. I have no play for this turn. I may just lose to having a non-game if I don't draw another mana source. And I'm not willing to just, like, go all in on the Minsc and Boo here. I'd rather wait one draw step to see if I draw another land was going to be the tail end of that. All right. Now that I've missed on a colored land drop, which way do I want to play this? A or B? Probably Minsc and Boo. I don't know. Maybe I probably play Minsc and Boo. From Mox. Imprint this. Do this. Or Minsc and Boo. Okay, cool. We'll power up the hamster. And I'll go ahead and crush in. My opponent's at 13. We'll see whether or not this ends up being good enough and whether or not it was costly to wait one turn to try to find a different card to put under Chrome Mox or a land. There's a land drop from my opponent. See what that turns into. Half of the Storyteller is fine. That's quite slow here. Alright, I do not want to make a new token, as it will legend rule my previous one. Ooh, I do this before anything else. Okay. I think that was not optimal timing, but fine. Let's attempt to resolve this Magus. It shuts off all 3 of my opponent's lands. Nice. And we'll plus with no targets, just get the loyalty of my Planeswalker ticking up. And at this point, I probably just like make a new hamster next turn and run away with this game. Like what I'm doing will probably outpace Bitter Blossom, especially since my opponent doesn't have basic planes to go and do stuff with this. So I think this one's over. Yep, alright, and they accept that. I don't have any sort of artifact hate in my board to work against things like Staff of the Storyteller. But now I can kind of see that my opponent's deck is a little slow. Good to know about. Downside of being on the draw is that Magus of the Moon isn't quite as free of a win anymore. But I think that's fine. I could consider Trinisphere for slowing down my opponent's ability to play multiple cards, but I don't think I want to take the turn off to do that against my opponent's Prismatic Ending deck. This hand's like almost there. The issue is that I kind of use 5 cards to get to 3 mana, and I need to get to 4. And this is going to be like kind of bad versus things like Prismatic Ending. I think it might be better to mulligan. I think a hand with a soul land is probably going to be better than this on average. Yes, absolutely. Probably play turn 1 Fable of the Mirror Breaker off these 2. And then play this into this. The Minsc and Boo is a little harder to do cleanly due to the multiple colored pips, so I think I just get rid of that. There's a basic, so again, Magus of the Moon gets worse quickly. Yeah, I am trying to ride the Fable value train and eventually copying initiative creatures to victory. See how it goes. Oh. Oh boy. That's a draw. That feels like a trap. I think I just play Fable. I exile a Spirit Guide to do so. Alright, there's a Force of Will from my opponent pitching Hurkyl's Recall. I have exactly 4 artifacts in my entire deck. I'm not playing Chalice or Trinisphere here. That card is not particularly strong against me. Alright, there's a basic plains from my opponent into a staff. Cavern's awkward, but not bad. Just more awkward that I'm about to lose this soul land and be sent back a bunch. I really needed this to resolve. I needed my opponent to not have force. Alright. I think this is one of it is what it is situations. Yeah, and the game where I'm on the draw, the Magus is worse. I still think I want it in my deck. Like, it's Magus versus these 4 cards, none of which are, like, exactly bangers. Like, now that it's turn 2, my opponent has 2 basics. I'm going to cut them off of a color, but that's not the end of the world. Alright, there's a cantrip. There's a mountain. And that's no attack in. Once Upon a Time, not particularly strong here. The no attack in is weird. My opponent's got to draw a card. There could be like a random containment priest or something that could flash in and block this. I'm like very clearly the beatdown here. So I'm going to attempt to beat down. Okay, no Trixies, just a missed point of damage. Yeah, take your card. I actually kind of want Magus removed, because Magus removed means that I can cast this Once Upon a Time, try to find a soul land, and then cast Caves of Chaos Adventurer into Caves of Chaos Adventurer. What are you doing? What are you doing? Alright, Magus bashes in. My opponent goes to 14. I'll pass the turn. I'm 1 turn off of Caves of Chaos Adventurer in all likelihood. My opponent used no mana in that turn cycle. Okay, now they've decided to attack. I'll eat the 1. And we're chilling. I need my Magus to die. That's not happening. Again, it's not like I'm exactly in a bad position here. Okay, nice. This is actively good for me. Alright, I'll take the damage from this spirit. I'm at 20. Fetch end of turn. I don't think I need a basic here. I guess I could get basic forest. I, in theory, need red for Fury. I guess because of Minsc and Boo, I just want Taiga, though. So let's Once Upon a Time, just looking for any mana source. Okay. So if I get a basic, I just use Simian Spirit Guide. And then next turn, I don't know, maybe I don't need the basic gives me access to Minsc and Boo off of lands only. Ancient Tomb lets me save the Spirit Guide for later. I'll take the Ancient Tomb. Woohoo. I would like to take the initiative. I can get either red or green here. I'm going to get red. Despite the fact that, like, Magus of the Moon is a card that exists. I think it's much more important to play around my opponent, randomly have a Wasteland knocking me off of Taiga. Yeah, that's fine. Take your 1/1 flyer. Swords is fine. I just get to take the initiative back every turn for the next 2 or more turns. And my opponent is already at 12. Like, considering that Trap is going to happen, and that, like, I'm going to have Minsc and Boo as a finisher, like, this is a very scary proposition for them. Okay, sure. Like, you've got your basics. Thoughtseize is fine. That's 2 more damage, honestly. Alright, 1 Caves of Chaos Adventurer down. I don't really want to draw another Ancient Tomb here. Alright, let's play another one of these uncounterably. I am going to just go down the left side, despite the fact that my opponent might have a Swords to Plowshares. They did not immediately. And no use of their mana end of turn. Yeah, life's probably bad for my opponent. Like, again, game's not over. They still have 5 cards in hand. Alright, both creatures are coming in. I'll drop to 16, and they can either forge or scry, as they feel is appropriate. Alright, they are going for forge. Supreme Verdict. I have Minsc and Boo as a follow-up to that. Or is Undermountain Adventurer just better? If one of them gets Force of Willed, I probably want it to be Undermountain Adventurer. I guess I can play 2 bodies out this turn if I play Undermountain Adventurer. Guess that's a reason to play that here. My opponent also has been playing really slowly this game. They are going to start to get into the range where they have to start worrying about timing out if they don't pick up their pace of play. Force of Will is quite bad for me. I am going to go ahead and take 2 more points of damage to play out a Spirit Guide, though. That's just a second body that threatens to take the initiative next turn. Alright, I get drained 5, I'm at 7. Life total's pretty low from Ancient Tombs. Okay, they chose to shuffle. There's a follow-up Brainstorm. Opponent, you are Burning Clock. You have, or you got like 7 minutes at the beginning of this turn or something like that. Ooh, okay. I lose my Minsc and Boo. Do you have Swords to Plowshares as your exact last card? It's a pain in the ass for me if you do. Otherwise, I think I'm in incredibly good shape. Fantastic. We go to Trap. My opponent was at 7 previously, and then did 2 points of damage to themselves with their own Thoughtseize to make this lethal. Okay. I think this is a great example of playing tight. I don't think my opponent played this game particularly well. So if we go back, this is turn 9. I think if we go back, I think it was turns 3 and 4. My opponent kind of inexplicably did not attack with their token twice. I think I had a 2/2 on board or something like that, and they didn't attack with that twice. And that could have been the deal breaker in this game. And similarly, they thought seized me, which put them in a situation where they were dead on board. Today's video is sponsored by Cardsphere.com. Cardsphere is a service that allows you to buy, sell, and most importantly, trade your Magic cards with other people and game stores from around the world. As you can see here, they are doing a lot of business. They only take a very small fee, 3%, and if you decide you want cash instead of cards, you can also get paid out via PayPal for a small cut. P.S. They also have articles, so please consider checking them out. Okay, I've got a Soul Land and a Cavernous Souls, a slightly awkward creature for that to start off with, and a bunch of creature types, but I probably still keep this. Once Upon a Time will let me find another land or a Spirit Guide to turn this into a more impressive hand, and I think I'll wait till my own like main phase to cast Once Upon a Time, once I get a little bit more direction. So now seeing what I see here, I kind of want a Spirit Guide, specifically a red Spirit Guide. Pierce, that's fine. Okay. That means that's not countering the Fable, which is good. I think I'll play Taiga here. I have to play either Ancient Tomb or Taiga, and if one of them gets wastelanded, I think I want it to be Taiga. Yep. That's fine. This will be Ancient Tomb pass. Potentially playing against some sort of Delvery deck. We'll see what exactly it is in another turn or two. I really don't want to put this Cavern on Giant. Okay, now I don't have to. Well, I could still put it on Giant and play this one, because Giant hits both of these. This is like the much better initiative creature to play, but this one survives a Lightning Bolt. So, yeah. Alright, talk myself into it. This will be my green mana. And Spirit Guide gets me uncounterable one of these. My opponent could still stifle this trigger. It seems like the sort of card they might be playing. Profit. Yep, there's the stifle I called. Which sucks, because like I really did want that basic land, because it's what lets me cast every single other card in my hand if I have basic mountain. Okay, sorry, not Minsc and Boo. Okay, follow-up land drop there. I have a Tarmogoyf. Nope. Okay, I go. Remember, this is also a mana dork. We'll go ahead and hit in for our damage, and then I get to make some decisions. So what, I have 2, 4, 5, 6 total mana. I think just means deploying 2 cards here, rather than just slamming the biggest possible cards that I have. We'll play that around Spell Pierce, and then just drop a Bone Crusher Giant. And that's uncounterable. I have a very large board. I can take the initiative next turn. I can play Minsc and Boo next turn. The old lightning bolt on Bone Crusher Giant doesn't feel great. So that deals my opponent 2. I have 5 damage on board, plus a little bit of other stuff as well. Minsc and Boo is strong but fine. So my opponent will have a 4/4 blocker. If I don't get rid of anything, I can play my own Minsc and Boo and Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Or no, green, green, red. I don't have red, red available in these colors. Given that, I'm going to go ahead and discard Ancient Tomb. Go ahead and get rid of that one. This is a City of Traders. Mana's awkward here. I need to tap this to do all the stuff that I want. I guess I have one more mana off of this. I want to throw away this body, though. I can attack Minsc and Boo with the Goblin Shaman. Play Caves of Chaos Adventurer, take the initiative. Play Minsc and Boo. That's not really great. If my opponent doesn't have Force of Will, I can just attack in, do 2 damage to Boo, kill the hamster. Not a fan of this spot. Alright. I think I'm going to do it like this. Send this at Minsc and Boo, so that I can make my treasure token. Opponent gets that block off. That's fine. I'll make a land drop. Green, red, and some colorless. We'll play my own Minsc and Boo, like so. We'll go ahead and make this an attempt to resolve Caves of Chaos Adventurer now, while I know that it will resolve. I do take the initiative here. I'll pick up another land. Now I will go ahead and minus this, sacrificing a creature, and use that to kill their Minsc and Boo. This leaves me with an initiative creature on board, and my opponent can kind of choose between taking out my Minsc and Boo and taking the initiative. I will have a Fable to start copying Undermountain Adventurer, and presumably Undermountain Adventurer is going to be hard to take off the table. My opponent doesn't have many cards, but a high impact card like another Minsc and Boo would be... Fuck. Yeah. That's real bad. So now they can attack in, kill my Minsc and Boo, pulling their hamster at my Undermountain Adventurer. That's probably their line. Oh, they're just going big at my face here. Okay. Understood. They're just trying to kill me. I don't need to use that ability. I guess I could have blocked for 1 for free. I can hit them for 7. They can throw this hamster at me. I'm always plussing here. So I kill their Minsc and Boo. I attack them. I take the initiative. I forge up my Undermountain Adventurer. I can leave these in hand and call it a turn. Brazen Borrower sort of card will beat me. Fuck you, Arkan! How easy is it to win games of Magic if you rip triple Minsc and Boo? Yeah. That's disappointing. So I potentially lost this one for not chump blocking with my Boo when I was just going to get another one. That's a little disappointing on my end. Magus seems pretty solid against what my opponent is doing over there, with a pretty exceptionally greedy mana base. Probably take out the weakest of my initiative cards in Bloodboil Sorcerer and keep Bone Crusher Giant around for smaller creatures. That seems reasonable to me. This is a hand that has mana, but just like does not do anything quickly. Cavern Giant gives me all 3 of these, but I'll shut that off if I do Magus. I don't think I can keep a hand that looks like this. So land drop, from Mox a card, Spirit Guide is 3 mana. This is a turn 2 Undermountain Adventurer. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can play a couple Undermountain Adventurers together, or I can keep this Once Upon a Time. I'm keeping it. I think I throw back Once Upon a Time. Do this. I can preemptively fetch basics here to be better versus something like a Stifle. Make this one green. I am going to Chrome Mox now, so that my Chrome Mox cannot be spell pierced to set me back a turn. A random piece of artifact removal could mess with me for doing that. So let's land drop, attempt to fetch, bait Stifle. Yep. Alright, Stifle's baited. Double Spirit Guide, drop Undermountain Adventurer, take the initiative, get Basic Mountain. I've already made my land drop. Undermountain Adventurer dodges lightning bolts, so we're good on that front. I will have a 5/6 Vigilant Attacker that also lets me cast any top deck spells. This is incredibly strong. Forge Moat. From Mox, very obviously not the sort of draw that I'm looking for here. One's at 14. Do this and pass. End of turn, Fairy Mastermind. That is something that can contest the initiative, which is good, but this Undermountain Adventurer has to come out of play. And my opponent is not really in the situation to do so as of right now. Doesn't fly. Will let my opponent get the island out of their deck. There it is. Petty Theft. Sure. So any colored spell or any land lets me just redeploy this. Ooh. Is that better than casting Undermountain Adventurer? Undermountain Adventurer gives me Trap, putting my opponent to 9. And I have a 3/4 in play. My opponent has a hard time dealing with. Magus is bad versus a Lightning Bolt, bad versus an additional Dragon Rage Channeler. But otherwise shuts off a lot of what my opponent is capable of doing. I think I slam the Magus. Just try to get a free one here. My opponent kind of F6'd very quickly through previous turns. I don't think they have a counter. Yep, they do not. So my opponent gets to forge up a creature. And I just kind of hope that they don't get like a follow-up Force of Will here. All right, they are going to come in with both creatures. I'm just going to be eating that damage and trying to attack in. No. So as a reminder, this can only block creatures with flying. Let's see if my opponent has another Fairy Mastermind. No, they have a Snapcaster Mage though. This is sort of unfortunate for me in terms of timing here because Stifle is going to get turned back on when it was previously off. Yeah, I wanted to maximize my initiative value here. So I throw an Undermountain Adventurer under it, and I have to just play this out. My trigger gets stifled, preventing me from trapping. And I think I'm going to lose here. Yep. Yeah, Snapcaster Mage wasn't one that I was necessarily expecting. I hadn't seen it yet. So my opponent's at 2 card types in graveyard. That's a Minsc and Boo. That will be enough damage to kill me here. I am fine conceding to that. GG. Okay. What does my hand do? Land, from Mox, 1 mana source away from doing something cool, which I can probably get with Once Upon a Time. If Once Upon a Time finds one of my 8 Spirit Guides, or if I draw a Soul Land, I have turn 1 Fable. I think I'm going to keep this one. I think there's a pretty good chance that my opponent will be playing Dredge. And in which case, I probably don't win game 1, and I have to win games 2 and 3. Oh. Maybe not. Alright, opponent gave me some kind words. There's a Spirit Guide. I still want to cast this as my first spell. Probably want second land here. Yeah, I probably want second land here. Let's go land, Romox. Probably imprint Bone Crusher Giant. Fury's not super great right now against just random island. Maybe I'll imprint that. And let's go with a Fable. We've got a Shaman. Okay. Dredge with basic island? That is a Grief? What did the Grief pitch? Ball Therapy, sure. I lose the next Fable. There is a breakthrough. No dredgers in the yard as of right now, but it'll probably get a little weird quickly. Ogak. Okay. One bridge from below over there. Only a Golgari Thug. So, Bridge from Below's wording is when a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield. Just FYI. So it can be a token. I am using this ability. I don't think I want this right now. I think I need to play something bigger and scarier. And then it's just like, do I want to loot through the land? I think I want to loot through the land. Alright. So we'll get a treasure token. Opponent goes to 17. We'll play a follow-up Fable. And then I have Fury, which can clear some opposing creatures as well as Bridge from Below. Or otherwise I can just play a Bloodboil Sorcerer next turn. The initiative sub-game is not something that I'm super excited about. Ooh, Ashen Rider. Oh no. I think my mowing guy is mowing my lawn right now. Is that my house? Either my house or my neighbor. Either way, I will wait things out in between rounds here. Alright, so they've chosen themselves to put a Stinkweed Imp in the yard. That's perfectly reasonable. And now they can go ahead and do the whole Cephalid Coliseum thing, which probably nets them a couple Bridge from Belows. Honestly, that could have been a lot worse. That could have been a lot worse. Alright, so there's a therapy, and now they can take out, presumably, my Fury. Feels like the better of the cards here, they agree. And now it is my turn. Alright. The whole initiative thing is okay here, but I think I need to fish for a better card than Bloodboil Sorcerer. Yes, Minsc and Boo sounds great. Oh no, I don't have pre-combat green mana. F, okay. Alright. So I will bash in for 4. Bring my opponent to 12. How many bridges are in there? 1 bridge, 2 bridges. Sack this for a green. Yes, use this ability. I think I just take out 2 bridges. Sacrifice a hamster. Deal 1 damage to my opponent. Draw a Bloodboil Sorcerer, which is actually a pretty respectable draw. Because that lets me play that next turn, copy that, forge up some creature, and hopefully swing for lethal. This turn can get pretty wild. There's some Otherworldly Gazes in there. There's a Hogak in there. Like, there's some issues. Yeah, that was perfectly tame as a dredge. Okay, so here's Otherworldly Gaze. So in case you're not familiar with this one, you surveil 3. So you look at the top 3 cards of your library, put them into your graveyard, put any number of them into your graveyard, and the rest on top of your library in any order. Dread Return in there now, notably. Alright, so my opponent is getting a Hogak. They can Dread Return if they would like, getting an Ashen Rider. And that can get rid of my Minsc and Boo. Okay, they are going to go ahead and do that. And notably, Ashen Rider is enter the battlefield or dies. Oh, they are going for my Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Sure. So yes, I'll use that ability. Get a new one of these. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Presumably, plus on Boo to kind of force the block there. Get my opponent for 4, and then do initiative nonsense. And get them the next turn. Alright. Battle. Okay, everything going exactly as expected. My opponent takes 4. I will play a Bloodboil Sorcerer, taking the initiative. Let me grab a land. I guess I'll grab this. We'll play this land. Back all these. Let me do this. I will forge my opponent. Or sorry, I will forge one of my creatures. I guess I'll choose a random Bloodboil Sorcerer. And next turn I have Trap, presumably. Either literally in combat or with Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, or by doing Minsc and Boo nonsense. This was so much more of a game than I expected. A lot of times Dredge gets like the free roll wins against kind of fair decks like mine in game one. Yeah, sorry for this. Oop, something's happening. What's happening? Are we in combat? We're in combat. It is indeed my mowing guy, so I'll take a break to eat dinner after this one. And everything will be better. Right, Minsc and Boo is being attacked by Icarid, and Ashen Rider. That's not actually true. So, both of these are going at Minsc and Boo. Ashen Rider is going at my face to take the initiative. Seems like keeping Minsc and Boo alive is worth more damage than the secondary Bloodboil Sorcerer is. Go block here. Again, both those are going here. This is going at my face. This seems fine. Alright, so my opponent takes the initiative. I still got a Bloodboil Sorcerer to copy. I've got a Minsc and Boo to do Minsc and Boo things. Minsc and Boo can also fling a creature if I need it to. No secondary basic land here. There's a Careful Study. See how big of a turn my opponent can have. There's a Narcomoeba. I think my opponent needs like another Dread Return to get rid of Minsc and Boo? Question mark? Like otherwise, copy Bloodboil Sorcerer, take the initiative, trap my opponent, fling a creature at my opponent is just lethal. They're fucking fighting for it. Alright, there's a Cabal Therapy. They'll target themselves to put back whatever creature they dredged. Alright, the dies trigger. Alright, so the dies trigger goes there. Throw back a Grave Troll or whatever it was. Okay, cool. So we will go ahead, copy a Bloodboil Sorcerer, take the initiative, trap my opponent, worth 5 damage. They go to 2. I'll go to combat and swing out for lethal. Looks like my opponent is going to disconnect to eliminate some lag on their end. So, what would I like to do here? I want Fairy. That's easy. My Furies and Bone Crusher Giants are things that could take out bridges, which as we saw is super relevant. Once Upon a Time looks for Fairy, we're not going to cut that. Probably cutting Bloodboil Sorcerer is just like my generically weakest card. I like Trinisphere a lot on play, I think. The draw, it's a little sus. My opponent's version is a little bit slower than normal Dredge because like they have these oh shit, what's the Gaze card called? Like Undercity Gaze? Whatever it's called. They have the blue Surveil card that they can cast. They just need Trinisphere to slow my opponent down. Alright, what comes out for it? A little weird keeping the Furies. Finishing the thought, like they can clear bridge from belows, but like they're kind of hard to cast. They're relatively slow. I could go down some Undermountain Adventurers. I'd go down some Fables. Like do something like 2 and 2 here. Keep some Furies and not all of them. I don't know. I do not have matchup experience of red-green initiative versus this deck. Dredge is so rare these days. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of this hand. It has 2 fairies, though. I'm gonna keep it. Like, for the hands that my opponent keeps something that is all in on 1 Dredger, this is pretty disgusting. It's a little soft to a Cabal Therapy, though. So we'll just kind of presciently call that one before it happens. Alright, there's a Careful Study. We will probably ferry both of the cards that my opponent puts in their graveyard here. Definitely will. Okay, hand is improving. Let's discard, get rid of Grave Troll and Gaze. And significantly set my opponent back. Back in the day, you really had to worry about like Street Wraith cycling in response to something like that. Ooh, a new Careful Study. The fuck is this? Return any number of target enchantments to their owner's hand. Okay, that's anti-leyline tech. That's fine. Spirit Guide's awkward. Yeah, we're just playing... Am I just playing a Spirit Guide? Like, just a fuck you Spirit Guide? When I draw any green mana, I do one of these. Yes. Not my proudest moment. But this is like what you do if you want to keep a double hate hand. My audio quality. Alright. 5 cards in graveyard currently, as far as like account for Cephalid Coliseum goes. I have to be careful of that. Yep. Alright. There's fun cards in the graveyard now. So I can't ferry right now. I need to ferry in response to something else happening. Oh, fuck yeah. Okay. So we'll activate this. Getting rid of Grave Troll and Hogak, probably. Otherworldly Gaze is also, like, perfectly reasonable. I think I want to get rid of the big booty creature. Okay, there is now a Drudger in the yard. Life is cruel. Yeah, so that was a whole bunch of draws that did not produce actual green mana. So while any of my previous 3 draws producing green mana makes this hand incredible, missing on that, while also missing out on, like, Caves of Chaos Adventurer and Fable is rough. My opponent has preemptively said third fairy in chat. Nope. This is the cost of playing a multicolor deck. We're fucked. So, this is going to get scary fast. Turn Dismissal. Is that the counter spell? No, that's the bounce spell. Got it. Fuck. It's humorous, really. Alright, my opponent's at 13. My situation is very bad, though. Bridge from below shit just happens this turn. Ooh, a fetch is happening in response. Okay, that's what we're doing. Sure. I'm just gonna F6. Like, whatever happens, happens here. Like, I very clearly don't have shit. Oh god, 3 Narcomoebas off that last dredge. I'm very confident that I am not winning this game anymore. Alright, 3 bridges in graveyard. There's a Cabal Therapy. Alright, I'll eat 6 damage. And with these zombies coming into play, I'm just going to go ahead and concede here. Alright, for this game where I'm on the play, I can go a little deeper into things that just try to cheese a win with something like Magus of the Moon. If I do that, I'm probably cutting these cards and just trying to play a high impact card quickly, which is already kind of what I'm trying to do in the matchup. I think I'm on board with that. I think if I do this, I want the other Fables in here. Maybe over 2 of those. I'm going to have green a little bit less of the time if I'm trying to Magus of the Moon people. Alright. City. From Mox. Probably imprint Minsc and Boo. And just slam turn 1 Magus on the play. My opponent never casts a spell other than like a Cabal Therapy. I keep this. Alright, Chromox. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I can cast either next turn. Minsc and Boo is maybe scarier. Minsc and Boo is maybe scarier. Alright, there's a Magus. Ooh, Force Pitching Breakthrough. Let's see what my opponent can do. Oh, that's a great draw. I think I go 1, 2, cast this without making the land drop here. Wow, second Force of Will. Sure. I've got a fairy for whatever nonsense my opponent can do. And I just need to top deck another threat. Trinisphere wouldn't be the worst either. Ancient Tomb is actively not good here. That's worse than the city I have in play for the most part. So I think I'm going to chill. Alright, sure. The double Force of Will dredge hand is really fucking weird. Okay, Trinisphere is totally fine. This is a speed bump rather than something that wins the game. Makes my future Romoxen worse. All therapy resolves. See if they name a threat or if they just go for a fairy. Oh, they're naming their own stuff. Or what were those other cards? Okay, I got it. They have a bridge from below left. Sure. The mighty elvish spirit guide has come to battle. Think so. Yeah. Cast this. We'll take out a Stinkweed Imp and that Cabal Therapy now. Just buy a little bit of time for me to top deck another better card. And this brings him back to 5 cards in graveyard for the purposes of Threshold, which matters a lot. Alright. Moonman. Hello, Moonman. Brings my opponent to 13. And hopefully this play is real good, because it stops this from hitting play and literally doubles my clock. This game has been super interesting. 4 damage on in here. Opponent goes to 9. I will drop a secondary Trinisphere. This is a mountain, so this doesn't actually cost me any life. Makes me better against a single target bounce spell. My opponent's cantrips are now very slow. This game ended up being really cool. I think this one gets the recommended round for this league. There's a 3-mana main phase Brainstorm. There will be no fetching, because Magus of the Moon is in play, so like whatever's there is there. Bridge from Below may or may not be in my opponent's hand anymore. And at this point, they know whether or not they are dead, right? Because like I have this much power in play, they know their next 2 cards. Is this the end? All right. I think my opponent has said, I believe your green source will win the game. All right, so my opponent's at 5. And then I cast this and put my opponent on a 1-turn clock. Yes, and we have gotten the GGs from my opponent. What a fantastic game. I love Legacy. All right, so this is round 4. I think I'm 2-1. I'm 1 mana short of having a pretty solid hand. This one probably plays a turn 2 Fable. I probably just kind of have to accept this here. I'm going to keep it pitching a Fury, and we're going to try to find an Ancient Tomb off this Once Upon a Time, I think. Opponent is going to 5. 4. Alright, they're on 4 cards. Let's see what I can do with this Once Upon a Time. I will select a Caves of Chaos Adventurer as the card that I would like to take. And we'll be going for turn 2 Fable, hopefully turn 3 Caves, turn 4 Bloodboil. Bayou? Thoughtseize. That's quite good. Am I playing against a Storm deck? A Witherbloom Apprentice combo deck? I maybe even would have taken the Spirit Guide if I were them. Fable is a perfectly reasonable take, but like the Spirit Guide just accelerates me into just doing Caves next turn most of the time anyway. Urza's Saga. Okay. I don't know what my opponent's doing. Alright. Let's just draw any mana source here. That will qualify. I'll go ahead and fetch. Seems like I can pick up another Taiga. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to play Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I think I do. It's tempting to play Bloodboil Sorcerer first and try to get my opponent to Execution Capsule that instead. I don't know that they're going to commit the mana to Execution. Nope, okay, they are. Yeah. Grab a land. Play a land, pass. Yeah, kind of finishing my thought. I didn't know whether or not they were going to be willing to go all in on this immediately. Bayou Plains, Urza Saga. We'll go to Lost Well here. I don't want 2 lands. I'll take 1. Oh, maybe I want 2 lands. No, I have Stash next turn. I have Stash next turn to cast Fury. Bottom that. Top that. Play Bloodboil Sorcerer. That gets me to stash for a treasure token. And I've already got the... Oh, my opponent just missed a Urza Saga token by not activating. Kind of a huge deal. Because now they can't possibly make me trade the Bloodboil Sorcerer body. Shadow Spear's fine. Other Urza Saga's good. Yeah, opponent said wrong priority passing button. Whoops. Yeah, and it's a huge deal. I'd like to draw something to play. Never mind. I was about to finish that sentence with other than a Fury, but just having another Fury here is pretty nuts. We'll send that at that construct to kill it. I get to Bloodboil Sorcerer. Run of the Dead 3 probably finds me a new initiative creature next turn, which lets me play the Fury that's in my hand to kill the Urza Saga token. I still don't know what my opponent is playing. Like, maybe it's not a Nick Fit deck, but something with like Rectors or something. Alright, pick up a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Re-enter the Undercity. Yep, alright, yep. Yeah, but I don't know what my opponent's playing. I have very little idea. This is weird, because like this isn't fetchable by Urza Saga, because it's an artifact with exactly mana cost 0, colorless, or 1. They have to have some other reason to want Executioner's Capsule. I'm playing for Magus of the Moon. I am confident in that. Emery doesn't make sense. There's like a Glissa in there. I probably don't need to think about it that much. Like, the big question is, like, do I board out Bone Crusher Giant, like, 2 Bone Crusher Giant, 2 Bloodboil Sorcerer, or 4 Bloodboil Sorcerer? I think it's 2 and 2 with the information that I have, but, like, this may be wrong if my opponent has, like, Stoneforge Mystics, but I, like, legit don't know what they're doing over there. Turn 1, Magus of the Moon. Or Fable. The second Once Upon a Time is a little awkward, but this hand is not worth throwing back. My opponent mulliganed really deep last time, which is giving me a warped perspective on what their deck is capable of doing. Savannah? Esper Sentinel. I'll respond to that with Once Upon a Time. I wanted a soul land there. I think I accept a regular land. And we're slamming Moonman on turn 1. Unless I have a very good reason not to. Which I don't think my opponent is going to present. Take your card. Yeah, this is just attempt the I win button by exiling both Spirit Guides. My game slows down a lot if they do just have a basic, but in the worlds where they don't, this is pretty close to over. Haywire might. Well, that means my Magus can't attack, but we're chilling. I don't think I want to Once Upon a Time and let my opponent draw a card. That doesn't feel like it's in the cards. We'll just wait a turn cycle. Very nice. We'll just play this past the turn. As to Once Upon a Time on their turn, and then use that to play a card that spirals this game out of control in my favor. Alright, end of turn. Cast Once Upon a Time. Paying the 1. Pick up any land. Taiga. Oh, my hand's great. I am just going to play this in the way that doesn't let my opponent draw another card that could be a basic land. And then next turn I can probably Minsc and Boo or take the initiative or whatever. I guess a hell of a drug. Discard 0. Yeah, maybe discard 1 Minsc and Boo. A new Magus. I just play that here. Like, that's just so strong. That means that things like Solitude are no longer going to go and remove my Moon effect. And next turn I can start initiative or Minsc and Boo. I am in the this game is over, just don't find a way to lose it idiot phase of the game. Alright, this comes back. I'll make a mountain. I'll play a Minsc and Boo. I will pay the 1. Yes. Got my hamster friend. Plus on Boo. Go to combat. Don't need to endanger Magus of the Moon given how far ahead I am. My opponent goes to 12. I haven't done the math yet, but I just assume they're dead next turn. Yeah, no further play. Say no to that. There's a land drop. Plus on Boo. Do this. Play Bloodboil Sorcerer. Take the initiative. Grab a land. Already played a land. Go ahead and do another one of these. Go ahead and forge. Forge up like Trampler. Oh, it's a Ratchet deck. Ah, that's what it was. Ratchet Field Medic, the Transformer card. GG. Hand's great. I think I play turn 1 Fable off Ancient Tomb Spirit Guide, and then that kind of makes sure that I don't run out of mana in future turns. Although getting a red land drop is really fucking strong. Let's do that. Alright, turn 1 Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Quite bad against Force of Will here. But that didn't happen. We're Gucci. Alright, Mountain Pass. Opponent is under an absolutely insane amount of pressure. I will keep piling that on with Fable and future Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Oh, I forgot to turn my lamps on. Lighting's not as good. We'll get that between games here. What happens when I take a break to eat? Moral of the story, never eat food. What they tell you, right? Stay hungry. That has something to do with winning. Yeah, we've got it all figured out. Swing in for 7. There's a Spirit Guide. We can cast that this turn. We're not going to cast that this turn. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is much, much, much more attractive here. Alright, good shit. So my opponent needs an Ancient Tomb as a starting point to kind of do anything here. And now they can make something that can trade with the Goblin Shaman. Sure, that's fine, but assuming this is some sort of 8-cast thing, playing out a Chalice long term is a rough proposition. Alright, go to Trap. Trap you. We're down to 8. I just get to play another Caves of Chaos. Yep. Hey, my lighting got better all of a sudden. So I didn't see the blue yet, but this feels like 8-cast to me. In which case, Chalice on 0 is pretty reasonable. Bloodboil Sorcerer is probably the thing that I'm cutting in this matchup. If my opponent is playing 8-cast, Bone Crusher Giant hits some Emery-type cards, which is solid. I can mess around with Magus of the Moon to stop Urza Saga. That seems okay. I think I'm going to play 1 to just fill the deck here. This hand is a hand of Magic the Gathering cards. I don't know that I'm excited about it at all. Once Upon a Time does stuff. Oh no, it seems like my lawn care person has come back around with a Weed Eater. Apologies in advance. They left, they were done. I think I shipped this one. Yeah, this is a keep. So this plays City, Chrome Mox, Imprint Spirit Guide, use Spirit Guide, play Caves of Chaos Adventurer with 3 persistent mana. Do I want to play Once Upon a Time, or do I want access to 1 additional mana for doing whatever? I think I want another threat. Let's call this good. Okay, it is indeed 8-cast. Alright, Opal is fine. There's a Thought Cast. I think I cast my Once Upon a Time right here before they have a chance to draw like a Force of Will. Undermountain Adventurer is a really awkward thing to try and get. I think I get an Ancient Tomb. It's a persistent source of mana in a way that City of Traders isn't. This was not really what I was looking for, but that's fine. A new Mox Opal, which means a counterspell of some kind. So let's watch as our Chrome Mox gets countered, and then I just play another fucking Chrome Mox. Shall we? No, that didn't happen. Spirit Guide. Do it again. Okay. Spirit Guide. I mean, I guess show me Blue Elemental Blast. Like, I'm not going to not jam. Like, this could be a bluff. Fuck. Am I getting dismembered? Yeah, I'm getting dismembered. I'll be taking green mana here. I've already made my land drop, so we'll call it a turn. East turn 1. I'm pretty bad against Hurkyl's Recall right now, since I did a double Chrome Mox play. That's fine. That's my opponent's way of attempting to take back the initiative. Oh, wow. No, they are going to just take out a Chrome Mox immediately. I don't know about that decision. I will scry 2. No to Spirit Guide. I think I just say yes to Bonecrusher Giant, even though it's not an optimal threat. I will just take it to guarantee a threat for this turn. And I think I want to make this land drop. I believe I'm willing to take the 2 here. Just deploy this. We're hoping to avoid something like a flying attacker this turn. Like something like a Thought Monitor getting into play would be a pain in the butt. Okay, cool. Seems like we're good at this point. I'll stash, make some extra mana. Fury's solid. Petty Theft on the Bonecrusher Giant. That's worth some damage. I make this land drop. I want a 3/3 Double Striker. These are different cards. Like, this is better versus Urza Construct tokens. This is better versus Brazen Borrower, which only has 1 toughness. I play out the Fury. Fury does cause me to use my treasure token. And I can't do this in a way that lets me leave up Stomp in this exact turn cycle, but hopefully that's fine. This Menace creature from Catacombs should be really good. We'll go ahead and pick that up now. So if my opponent makes a construct token, they have a 4/4, and I can blow that out mid-combat with Bonecrusher Giant. So let's swing on in. Okay, my opponent's just going to take 6. That brings them to 10. Now, if I pass with mana up, my opponent makes Urza Saga Construct tokens. And if I play Bonecrusher Giant out, my opponent plays Brazen Borrower. I think I'm just getting in with Skeleton and getting Throne of the Dead 3 most of the time next turn anyway. I'm just going to cast Bonecrusher Giant. Bonecrusher Giant's not great against the Shadow Spear that my opponent is probably about to pick up. But I'm hoping to outvalue what my opponent is doing. So now they get a 5/5. They can pick up a Shadow Spear. It's not that big of a deal unless they also have Ancient Tomb here. In which case things get sus. Another Opal? Okay. Thought Monitor. They are big bodies. Uh-huh. Okay. Very big bodies. So I'm definitely blocking. Probably with Bonecrusher Giant. Do I want to block with both? No, because I want to be able to hit a Fury, kill both of these. Yeah. Oh, maybe I do. Maybe I do just block with both. Like, these are problems. Okay. Because, like, this will shrink this, and that does matter. Now let's hit Throne of the Dead 3. I do kind of need to hit well here. Caves of Chaos Adventurer is fine. It is large, it is tramply, it gets me a land out of my deck. A mountain. So my Fury can't attack this turn. So I am casting a Simian Spirit Guide and then casting a Chalice on 0. We'll see where this goes. Force of Negation there. Okay. Pass turn. Life's scary. Thoughtcast is very strong here. Well, I guess mana's a bit of a bottleneck for my opponent. Alright, so they are just going to do the minimum that they have to do to take the initiative, which makes sense. They do have an island to get. And we'll see what comes of it, if anything. Make this Brazen Borrower smaller. Opponent's cards over there do matter. Minsc and Boo. Assuming my opponent has nothing, if I attack in, my opponent can take 1 from Caves of Chaos Adventurer, 2 from Boo. So I'm wondering if pre or post combat, Minsc and Boo makes more sense. Caves of Chaos Adventurer is blocked by Construct token. They take 1, they're at 9. Thought Monitor can chump block Fury. They take 6, they are not dead. if I do it post-combat and Caves of Chaos Adventurer is still alive, which I don't think it will be. So if I play Boo and they stay alive, I can die to Brazen Borrower plus Construct token plus tapped Thought Monitor. The Fury is blocked by Construct token. Take 8 from Caves. Another 4, that's lethal. Also, like, do they tap out for something else and then I can resolve a Minsc around another card? I think I attack in with everything. Take the initiative, forge something up, fling the thing at my opponent, and they probably die. I think I'm going for that. And this also lets me look at a card with Caves of Chaos Adventurer. That can potentially change my mind about what I'm doing. Spirit Guide is not going to change my mind. What I'm kind of hoping here is that my opponent plays this in a way where they leave themselves very close to dead, but not actually dead. It is a Dismember. Okay. Forge is no longer good for me. Okay. Alright. Because Forge isn't good. Well, Trap's very good, though. This is obligatory, though, so if I do this, I have to put counters there. Alright. Let's scry. Ancient Tomb goes away. I think I just want something that, like, takes the initiative. Fable is pretty average draw. Going to bottom that. Then I will do the post-combat Minsc and Boo. Ooh. Eating a Force of Will. That means I have to do this. Sure. I presume you're cracking the other bauble as well. Yep. I'll lose my city. Oh, right, sorry. I have... Games don't usually go this long. So I have completed the Undercity, which means I can play that card without paying its cost. So I threw away an Ancient Tomb for no reason. My opponent's going to take the initiative here. And it's a problem if they can hold it. If we're contesting it, that's fine. If they can hold it for a turn, I'm basically dead. I may also lose the game for throwing away my City of Traders, just due to life loss from Ancient Tomb. Oh, they are going to scry 2 instead of forging up the 2/2. I don't know how I feel about that. Kind of feels like combat math is everything right now. Like, I don't know what their last cards in hand are, so... There's another Thoughtcast. Excuse me, let's scroll down on that. Another Thought Monitor. That holds the initiative. Would be a great time to draw a Fury. I do take 2 extra damage here because I threw away City of Traders last turn. It is relevant. I just take the body off the board here. Send it on in. Read these. And drop the Undermountain Adventurer. Force of Will's brutal here. I still really think my opponent was kind of supposed to go down this side. Like, getting attacked for 4 this turn, putting me to 4, leaves me dead to any sort of 2/2 body the following turn. And limits my another ability to cast a spell, and that capitalizes really well on me throwing away my City of Traders. We'll see, it may end up working out for them just fine. Okay. Memory is solid. Fury is an incredibly good draw for me as of right now. Clearing both those bodies would be hot. I'm at 6. Taiga's not doing it. So my opponent casts Brazen Borrower and then has me dead exactly. I had one more draw step if I didn't do that play, which would have gotten me a Spirit Guide. That wasn't going to get me there. Neither was this. Okay, when I'm on the play, I can think about Magus of the Moon, but my opponent has a bunch of things like Mox Opal that are just going to undo that. Magus of the Moon's very good against Urza Saga, but otherwise is eh. I think I am going to keep the deck more or less like it is. Once Upon a Time probably turns this into a capable hand. It's probably not going to be great versus like Force of Will or Hercule's Recall. I love my second Chrome Mox here. Let's go ahead and cast this and figure out how I'm going to sculpt this hand. Creature types aren't perfect here. Forest, Chrome Mox, imprint a card. Chrome Mox, imprint a card. Fable into Caves is reasonable. I would like a red card to imprint, so I guess that's this. Alright. Storm is 2. Print Undermountain Adventurer. Chrome Mox. Print Caves. Land drop. Play Fable. Assuming no Dismember, this gets me to Caves of Chaos Adventurer on turn 2. An Urza Saga. No Dismember. Nice. Sure. Okay. I'm going to loot the land away. Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, if my opponent waits on Dismember until the last minute, this is an awkward decision. And I considered playing around exactly that. Okay, like I probably hit my land drop next turn, and then play Caves and start copying it, and everything's okay. The Shadow Spear is a pain in the butt. See if my opponent has more mana to activate Urza Saga. There's an Emery. Sure. Relatively speaking, whiffing. That's not a great turn for them. That's a bad draw for me. I have a wasted turn here. Ooh, I think my opponent just punted. They just took themselves off of Metalcraft. I guess they're about to get another one anyway. This is probably a Haywire Might. So float a mana, float a green. Haywire Might, get rid of Chalice. Start playing Baubles from Graveyard. I guess this gives you the green from Metalcraft anyway. Yep. I am absolutely fine as long as I hit a land drop. Alright, so they get a life, they exile this, they can then replay Haywire Might or a Bauble, whatever they want. Target Haywire Might, that's fine. Okay, cool. Good, unless my opponent has Force backing this up. This round has just kind of been the ultimate fuck you of my opponent having it all. I'll go ahead and send in for 2. I'm going to be in the same position as last turn, where I'm totally fine as long as I continue to make land drops. Okay, so they're going to take out a mana source, and they're going to replay it. Any mana source is insane, or that can happen. This is very frustrating. One's at 15. Please just let me draw a soul land and have justice. They'll lose Chrome Mox, and then they'll replay it. Hey, soul land for justice. Yeah. Nice. I might want another one of these. I don't think I attack here. I think I hold it back so that like a single removal spell like Dismember is just worse against what I have going on. Alright, Emery's going to start doing Bauble nonsense. Hopefully that doesn't matter because I just don't give my opponent time. Thoughtcast is fine. Anything that's not immediately impacting the board right now is very, very good for me. I think my opponent's probably dead if they don't have a Dismember or Blast or something that can answer one of my 2 creatures. 3 mana. Okay, sure, that's fine. Okay, they are going to cycle a Bauble. That's okay. You get your card. I am going to go down the left side, I think. Mostly because I want to trap my opponent. Alright, so redeploy this. Stop fucking having Force of Will. Very annoying. Okay, that's my turn. So I'm going to make my opponent take losses on attacking in if they want to take the initiative. I'm holding back more than I would like. The initiative to me feels like the most important aspect of this game. Like all I need to do is hold that, and if I get to Throne of the Dead 3, it feels very difficult to lose. Alright, Emery targets Bauble, that's fine. I'm just going to be in kind of the same position where I need to dodge like the Dismembers and Force of Wills. Monitor is fine. There's a Thoughtcast. Spellbomb's fine as long as my opponent doesn't have immediate mana to activate. That's the wrong color. Sure. Okay. Oh, surely my opponent just punted, right? Like, surely they bounce my reflection of Kiki Jiki, get in, take the initiative. Yeah. Trap target you. There's a Minsc and Boo, which I probably just use to win the game next turn. Go ahead and do this. Draw my card. So now I'm going to put my opponent in a position where they can never tap out of blue mana, I think. Yeah. Okay, play a reflection of Kiki Jiki and copy that in response. Now get Throne of the Dead 3. Fury sounds great. So, 2 on both of those is nuts. And now my opponent has a Haywire Might. I think they punted this game extremely hard by not activating the Mox Opal on their turn. And I end up with a 4-1 because of it. Alright, so that's it. We made it to the end of the league. We've got a 4-1 finish here. So, overall thoughts on the deck list. Solid. I don't know that it's one of the best things that you can be doing in Legacy, but like this felt like a pretty good deck list. There were opportunities for me to play well and sequence well, and I usually took pretty well advantage of those, pretty good advantage of those. There were a couple of times where I missed some stuff and it was very costly. There were a couple of times where it was hard to tell whether I should just go like all in, balls to the walls, go as fast as possible, or whether I should play more conservatively. I was punished a couple of times for playing conservatively. I was rewarded a couple of times for playing conservatively. I think it's one of those things like reps with the deck will get you to where you need to be. Bloodboil Sorcerer was kind of medium today. It's a higher density of initiative cards, but I don't know that this ultimately was better than something like Fury. Fury felt really good today. I kind of felt like I wanted a little bit more removal at some portions of the league, but I don't really know where I would fit it in. Like, what do you do? Do you just like straight up play like some lightning bolts or something? That feels like really bad when you need to top deck a threat at the end of the game though. Like I could see playing like 2 more Bone Crusher Giants and then 2 Bloodboil Sorcerers or something. I don't know exactly. Like Bloodboil Sorcerer is still a human and that's relevant for Cavern of Souls at times. I like where the deck is at. I would probably run back another league or two with this exact 75 before making any changes. You can have the like Fairy versus Leyline debate as well. Fairy felt pretty solid today, although Leyline might have had more of a punch versus Dredge. It's hard to say because like the Leyline would have walked into some of my opponent's answer for the Graveyard Hate though. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day. See ya!